Welcome to your class on trigonometry. Okay, so today we're going to be solving trigonometry equations. Okay, so this is a very interesting topic. Okay, so let's take a look at what we're going to learn. Okay, so in this lesson there are only two key goals. Okay, so the engineers and physicists, if you have an equation, okay, equation just like other equation with the trig functions, okay, sine x, okay. So your duty is to find this x, okay. We're going to be doing that here. They are worked out differently as others, okay. Let's go on and see. So the first thing is you're going to find the principal solution. Okay, so given an equation, we're going to use an interval of this from 0 to 360 degrees or 0 to 2 pi. Okay, so we're going to find that this is called the principal solution. Okay, so you're going to learn how to find it. Okay, then the next thing you're going to express the general solution. Okay, so we're going to find the degrees which are beyond this by the general solution. Okay, so we're going to account for periodicity and see how many solutions we're going to get. Okay, so we're going to start from the basics. Okay, so I'm going to teach you how to find the answer of an equation. Like let's say sine x is equals to half. I'm going to show you how to find the answers for this. Then we're going to go on and see some complex problems which can arise in engineering or in physics. Okay, before we go in, please give me energy by pressing that subscribe button so that I'll be energized to make some more videos on these topics that can benefit you and your exams. Okay, so let's go into it. Solving simple equations using unit circle. Okay, so we're going to given a simple equations, we're going to be solving them using a unit circle. Okay, so let's say your equation is saying that, let's start with the simple equation. Let's say it is sine x is equals to half. Okay, so this is a simple one. Okay, so I'm going to show you how do we find this one. How do we find solutions of this one? Okay, so the first thing you're just going to say x is equals to x sine half. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to be using degrees in this too, in this. And if you want to understand more, you can go on and use the radians. Okay, so they're just easy. In this case, let's use degrees. Okay, so you're going to get answer as 30 degrees here. Okay, so this is the simple step. Okay, so but this is not the only solution for x. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to draw a circle like this. Okay, assuming it is a unit radius, then you're going to write a plus here. Okay, you're going to cut it in 4 quadrants. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to write A, S, T, C. Okay, so this is it. You're just this helps us to find which quadrant are we going to put. You can see that here our answer was positive here. Okay, this was positive. Okay, so this is A for all, S for sine, T for tangent, and C for cosine. Okay, so this is where this in this quadrant, all these trigonometric sides are positive here. And this in this side, you can see that this sine is positive. Okay, so in this case, sine is positive. Okay, so this is where we go. Then here tan is positive, and here cos is positive. Okay, so let's see what you do. To use this one, you're going to draw in this horizontal. In this horizontal, we're going to be using this horizontal x. Okay, so in this horizontal x, you're going to draw a 30 degrees angle from all where sine is positive. Okay, so in this case, we're going to go here in A. We're going to draw a 30 degrees from this horizontal. Okay, so this means that it's going to give 30 degrees here. Okay, so this is our 30 degrees. Then here we're going to see that we're going to draw again a 30 degrees from this horizontal. Remember, from this horizontal. So we're going to draw another 30 degrees here. Okay, so now our duty is to find the solutions of x. So we're going to say x is equal to, in this case, let's say we're going to find x from 0. Okay, or x from 0 to 360 degrees. Okay, so this is just our range I choosing. Okay, so in this case, now we just have to move from this side, counting angles. Okay, where did we find it? In this case, if we count this angle, we're going to see that it's 30 degrees. Okay, so this means that 30 degrees is the first answer. Then you're going to go on and on and on. Here you can see that you're 90. Here you can see that here is it's going to be 180 minus 30. Okay, so this is becomes the answer. Okay, so in this case, you can see that your answer is 30 degrees and 150 degrees. Okay, so this is your answer in this range. Okay, so this is how we use this triangle. The first thing is you just find the answer here. Okay, the first answer here. After finding it, you're going to draw it where that sign is positive. In this case, here it is positive, and here it is positive. Okay, so you're going to draw it from the x-axis. Okay, from the x-axis, you're going to draw a 30 degrees and a 30 degrees. But when you are counting, you're just counting this anti-clockwise. Okay, so we're just counting the angles. Here you can see that it was 30 for the first time. This is the first angle. And here you can see that it was 90 plus 60, and it goes at 150. Okay, so this is how we do it to use unit circle. You can use it on cos, on tan, or on sine. Okay, so let me give you a trick how to remember this. If you want to remember this, the quadrant, which one is positive? Okay, uh, you can just say you start from this. You can say silly teachers copy. Okay, so you can include me on those teachers. Okay, it's just say silly teachers copy. Okay, so just remember that silly teachers copy. Okay, so that will help you out. That will help you to remember this. Okay, so this is it. Let's go on to the next concept where we're going to be solving this equation using this. Now let's take a look at how do we solve complex equations. Okay, so complex trig equations, how do we solve them using trig identities and R-substitution? Okay, so first let's take a look at how do we use trig identities. Okay, so when you have trig identities, okay, so when you have trig identities, what you do is you are trying to make sure that your function becomes f of x is equals to a certain value. Okay, so this is how do we express it. This f of x is like f is sine. Okay, so this f is sine, cos, or tan. Okay, so you are trying to make sure that this it is manipulated or factorized until this. Okay, so in this case you have to be able to work out identities until you get a solution. Okay, so I'm going to do an example on this. Okay, so make sure you grab that and make sure you watch that video where we did we proved the identities. You can grab the concept of it. Okay, so this is what you have to do. Just express it as f of x is equals to a certain value, and after expressing is that you're going to use our circle. Okay, so you're going to use a unity circle. Okay, you're going to use that unity circle to solve the solution. Okay, so that is it. Okay, now the most important part here is to talk about R substitution. Okay, it is also so called that R method. Okay, so this method is adopted when your function is like this. Let's say you're working out a function which is a sine x plus b cos x is equals to a certain value, let's say c. Okay, so if you're working out a function like this, it is very hard to use trig identities, but we try to make sure that we solve this. Okay, so how do we solve this? In this case, the easy way is to express it as in this form, r sine x plus a certain angle alpha is equals to c. Okay, so this means that we are changing this one, this side to become like this. Okay, so let's see how do we change this. Okay, to change this, the first thing is we make sure that this first term is sine and this first term is sine. Okay, this term and this term are the same. Okay, after that we have to find r. Okay, so r is easy to find. We just have to say the root of a squared plus b squared. Okay, so you have successfully find your r. Okay, after finding your r, the duty now is to find your alpha. Okay, so to find your alpha, you're going to say arctan b over a. Okay, so this one becomes your solution. Okay, after that, you're going to take this r and this alpha and use it to do this one. Okay, after this, you can simply solve this using a unity circle. I will show you how to do that. You just have to include this angle alpha. I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so the other thing I have to tell is when you want to use r cos x plus alpha is equals to c. Okay, is equals to c. It's possible that you can use it or you can use cos here. Okay, so when you want to use this, make sure the first term is cos. Okay, so that's the change you can make. If the first term is cos, this means that you can use cos here. But if the first term is sine like this, just go for this one. It is easy way. Okay, so let's go into our example where I'm going to show you how do we use sine, how do we use cos. Okay, how do we work out this one to get your answer? Okay, this is our first example. Okay, it is saying solve a sine 2x is equals to root 3 cos x. Okay, so we're going to be using trig identities here to make sure we solve it. Our duty here is just to saying f(x) is equals to value. Okay, so make sure that you remember this. This is your duty, just to make sure f(x) is equals to value. After that, you just have to use that circle and make sure you get the answer. Okay, so it's easy as that. Okay, so how do you do the here? Just have to solve identities here. I remember I said that this the identity of sine 2x, you just have to say 2 cos x sine x is equals to root 3 cos x. Okay, now solving an equation, we can just put all of this in this side. It becomes 2 cos x sine x is equals to minus, okay, it is minus root 3 cos x is equals to 0. Okay, so now we can factorize here. It becomes cos x 2 sine x minus root 3 is equals to 0. Okay, now we can now say cos x is equals to 0, or 2 sine x minus root 3 is equals to 0, which can be solved. Cos x is equals to 0, or in this case sine x is equals to root 3 over 2. Okay, now you can see that you have successfully done this. You have successfully done this one. Okay, in this case, you can see that here it is f of x is equals to value, f of x is equals to value. Okay, so you have successfully done this. Now your duty is just to use that triangle. Okay, so let's do it. Let's do it for cos first. Okay, so let's see what is the value of cos 0. Okay, so we're going to say x is equals to arc cos 0. We're going to get our answer is 90 degrees. Okay, so in this case, we're using degrees. Okay, so we're going to get our answer is 90 degrees. Okay, so this means that we're going to draw our circle. Let's draw a circle. Okay, like this, like this. Oh, silly teachers copy. In this case, we're going to go where this one is in positive, which is this quadrant and this quadrant. Okay, so we're going to draw a 90 degrees angle. In this case, we're going to get this is our angle, and from the x-axis, remember this, all these angles are drawn from the x-axis, and this one from the x-axis 90 degrees is going to come here. Okay, so now we just have to from here. Okay, so this means that we're going to get our x value as the first one is 90 degrees. Okay, we come from here anti-clockwise. Okay, here we saw 90. Then we come again from here. Here we are on 270. Okay, so this means that our x is 90 and 270 degrees. Okay, so this is it for the first equation here. Okay, we took this one and we found these two solutions. Now we just have to say x is equals to arc sine root 3 over 2. Okay, so let's solve here. We're going to get 60 degrees. Okay, 60 degrees. Okay, now we just have to write again our circle. Okay, please make sure you use this circle good, and it will help you answer. Okay, so all silly teachers copy. Okay, we are going to get 60 degrees here, 60. Then we are going to get another 60. This sine. Okay, remember all these angles are measured from this x. Okay, so we're going to get 60, another 60 here. Okay. Okay, so now we just have to take our answers from clockwise direction. Here we're going to see that x is equals to the first angle here is 60. Okay. Then here we are going to go here and see that we reach 90. Then we are going to say 180. This 180 minus 60. Okay, so this means 180 degrees minus 60 degrees. Okay, so this means that our x is going to become 60 degrees or 120 degrees here. Okay, so this is it. We have our answers. We have 4 answers here for x. Okay, so this means that you're going to say x is equals to the first one is 60 degrees, the second one is 90 degrees, and third one is 120 degrees, and the fourth one is 270 degrees. Okay, so these are our answers for x. Okay, so you can note them down. Okay, so this means that you see that whenever you see a trig function, it doesn't have one solution. Okay, in this case we see that we have 4. Okay, so if we want to combine, in this case we just chose the range. Our range was from 0 to 360. Okay, if you were to find until 540, until 720, we can go on and find the answers. Okay, so this means that our trig functions have more and more answers. Okay, this was that on trig identities. You just have to solve the identities. After solving identities, we're going to get our answers this one. Let's go on to the next example. Okay, our next question is saying that solve 3 sine x plus 4 cos x is equals to 2. Okay, so this is where we use R-substitution. Okay, so it can be said R method. Okay, so in this case, you use it when you two signs here, you can see that is sine and is cos, they are being added together. Okay, so you use R method. Okay, so the first thing is to find R. Okay, so how do we find R? We're going to say R is equals to, this is our A, we're going to say 3 squared plus 4 squared. Okay, so in this case, we're going to get root 9 plus 16. Okay, if we add this, we're going to get 25, root 25 is 5. Okay, so this means that our R value is 5. Okay, After finding that, we're going to say alpha is equals to arctan, or this one, the second digit, which is 4, over the first digit, which is 3. Okay, so after that, we are going to get our angle as 53.13. Okay, so rounded to the nearest 2 dp to 2 dp. Okay, so we're going to get this as our answer. Okay, so after that, what you're going to do is you're going to make sure you grab this concept, how to find R, and saying the second term over the first term. Okay, so what you're going to do, just going to write R. Okay, then the first term here, sine x plus alpha is equals to, in this case, our C is 2, right? Okay, so 2. Okay, so our R value is 5, sine, then our alpha is 53.13 is equals to 2. Okay, so now we're just going to say sine x plus 53. Okay, I'm just going to take 53 for simplicity, but if it is required to round to 2 decimal place, please round to 2 decimal place here. Okay, so in this case, we're going to get 2 over 5. Okay, so our answer is going to become x plus 53 is equals to, okay, arc sine 2 over 5. Okay, so we have another angle here. It's going to become 24. Okay, so rounded to a whole number is going to become 24 degrees. Okay, so here 53 degrees and 24 degrees here. Okay, so now our duty is to just to take that circle, okay, this circle, then write like this, okay. Please don't be tempted to add before using this circle. It can raise some complications in other solutions. Maybe not this one, but just try first to use this one. Okay, so we're going to say our solidity just copy. Then you're going to say here we're going to draw a 24 degrees. Here 24. Then here we're going to get a sign here. It is positive here. So we're going to get another 24. Okay, so we're just going to say x plus 53 is equals to x plus 53 is equals to, in this case, we're going to say first one is 24. Then the second one is 180 minus 24 degrees. Okay, so this means that we're going to get x is equals to, so in this case, we're going to say 24 minus 53 is going to become minus 29 degrees. Then here we're going to say 180 minus 24 minus 53. So in this case, we're going to get 103 degrees. Okay, so these are our answers. Okay, so in this case, you can see that this answer is below our range, 0x 360. Okay, so after that, you can remove it and just say x is equals to 103. Okay, so make sure you watch the next video. I'm going to do how do we find it when, let's say it's cos. Okay, we're going to go this way again and find the solutions. Okay, so this is it. Let's see how do we find general solutions. Okay, so these are the solutions which can exceed our range. Okay, so there we were using the range from 0 degrees x to 360 degrees. Okay, so this is it. This is the range where we're using. Okay, so now let's give us the general solutions. If you want to find the angles until 1000, until we don't know. Okay, so what are the general solutions? Okay, so let me give you the general solutions for x. Okay, so after finding your arc sine, okay, after finding this arc sine, okay, let's call this angle alpha only on this. Okay, after finding your arc sine, if you want to find the general solutions, what you say x is equals to, okay, if you want to find a general solution, you say x is equals to alpha plus or minus 360 degrees n. Okay, so this means that after finding the first solutions, let's say you find x is equals to a and b, so you're just going to substitute a on alpha here and b on alpha here, and you're going to substitute n is equals to 1, 2, 3 until you get your answers to your required range. Okay, so this is the formula for sine x. Okay, so make sure you remember it and make sure you use it well. Okay, so this is it. You just have to substitute here a or b and use plus or minus, and you use 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on until you get your answers. Okay, how many answers you want, you just use this formula to find them. Okay, now let's go on to the next, which is cos x. Okay, do the same, find this value and find these values. Okay, after that, you just have to use this formula to find the solutions which are over this range. Okay, even if you want to find it from the negative, okay, you just have to put n the n value. Okay, you just have to use the negative here and use n value until you get your answer. Okay, so now let's go into cos. If it's cos, you just have to say plus or minus alpha. Okay, plus 360 n. Okay, so this is it. You just have to change the plus or minus and put it here. Okay, this is for cos. Okay, now for tan, the solution is the only one. For tan, you just have to use alpha plus 180n. Okay, so this is it. You just have to find the solutions. Okay, if you want negative solutions, you just have to substitute minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, and so on and on. Okay, you just have to substitute here. Okay, so this is it on general solution. Make sure you remember these formulas. So make sure you remember that circle. Okay, it's a very good one. Okay, you just have to say right or select, just copy. And remember that in this quadrant, all these trigs are positive. In this quadrant, only sine is positive. In this quadrant, only tan is positive. And in this quadrant, only cos is positive. Okay, so this is it on general solutions. Okay, let me give you the final tips. Okay, so when solving trigonometric equations, okay, so the first thing you have to remember, you're going to get many solutions. Okay, so they can be many. Okay, so make sure you look at your range. Okay, so the first thing is you're going to simplify identities. Simplifying identities is you're just making sure that your answer becomes sine and cos. Okay, and you can simplify them. Okay, so your answer becomes sine and cos. Okay, so these are easy to work with. Okay, so make sure you just simplifying using identities whenever you need them and simplify. Okay, so the second step is you're going to isolate trig functions like sine x is equals to value. Okay, so this is I have been talking about this for a lot. So isolate trig functions. Okay, so given a trig function, isolate it to become sine x is equals to a certain value. To become sine x is equals to a certain value. Okay, so this is how we isolate trig functions. Okay, then the other thing is we're going to find principal solutions. Okay, so principal solutions are the solutions which from 0 to 360. Okay, so these are the what we call principal solutions. Okay, so you can use the unity circle or you can use the exact angles. Okay, I'm going to talk about this in the next video, so don't miss out on this. Okay, so let's go on to the next. Okay, so next is the if you are considering the period which is over 360, write the general solutions. Okay, in the last chapter we talked about the general solutions. Okay, so write the general solution and substitute. And if you keep on substituting until your answer exceeds the limit, keep on substituting. Okay. Then other thing is check for restricted domain. Okay. In the questions, they usually give you a domain like this from 0 to 360, from 0 to 540, or from 0 to 720. Okay. So make sure you check this. Okay. If you are using, let's say uh, your domain is like this means that they are using RADs. Okay, so please start to use RADs when they go there. Okay, so this means that you have to watch my video where I talked about changing from degrees to RADs. Okay, so it is very easy. Okay, so that was that on trigonometric identities. Okay, so make sure you're tuned in so that you will subscribe